Good morning and welcome to the Adult Education and Workforce Development Statewide webinar for April 10th. I'm Jerry Hafner. With me this morning is Marilyn and our Adult Education team.
There we go.
Rochelle Gibson came to Marian University's IET partnership program with a church looking for an answer. I wanted to improve my resume and become more knowledgeable, she said. However, I had no idea that the program would teach me so much more. As she progressed through the Microsoft Office Specialist and Family Community Services training, Rochelle began to realize that she was really a leader in the class, and it was because of some very special people. She said the way the teachers were able to open my understanding about math, language, and social issues were outstanding. I wish that my teachers in school were as dedicated as the Marian teachers are. They gave me confidence, and I learned a lot that I didn't know about Microsoft Office. When I passed the exam, I told myself I'm going to update my resume and try to get a higher paying job. However, I knew in my brain that there was something else I wanted to do. With my FCS certification, I actually may start to explore the field of social work because it's always been an interest of mine ever since I was in high school. Now, because of the certification, I can start to explore that dream. Congratulations. Let's go up to Northwest Indiana this morning. Zachary was diagnosed with ADD at a very young age. As a result of his diagnosis, he struggled with his studies and never graduated from high school. 10 years ago, he faced a very difficult hardship in his life. He was involved in a motorcycle accident that left him with multiple broken bones. It took Zachary 8 years to fully recover from the accident. Now, years later, he wanted to get his high school equivalency. He had tried night classes in the past, but his work schedule made it harder for him to continue attending that he eventually dropped out. Zachary enrolled in classes at Neal in early September 2018, determined to do whatever it took to earn his HSC. He made all of it work with his studies to reach his end goal. His teacher, Teresa Cruz, worked with another teacher, Adrian Carroll, to open both of their classrooms to Zachary to provide him with advanced opportunities to help him pass the HSE test. Late last year, really good news, Zachary took all 5 parts of the HSE test and passed. After earning his diploma, Zachary has some big plans for himself. I will be putting in my application with Union Local 150 with hopes of being accepted into the apprenticeship program. Here's the important part. In the long run, I plan to help myself and my family become more financially stable. Congratulations, Zachary, and to Neil for helping make all that possible. Let's turn to one of our workforce projects that I want to tell you a little bit about this morning. Several months ago, we had an opportunity to meet with Kevin Shear of Tyson. He is senior manager of Tyson's Employee Social Responsibility team. He said in one of their newsletters, working alongside team members on the processing line, I began to understand how the language barrier was bleeding over into nearly every aspect of our employees' lives. To participate in their communities, to help their kids with homework, to understand their benefits, to fill out forms at the doctor, to go shopping, it all hinges on being able to understand the language. Needless to say, these challenges also led to absences at work, lower productivity, and potentially safety issues. The more I and the other chaplains dug in, the more we realized that if Tyson Foods could help our team members manage some of these personal challenges, we might be able to help address business issues as well. To find answers, we started by asking team members what they needed, going out into the community to find out as much as we could about their cultures. We found that a big part of the answer was a need for employee education, but we needed to overcome logistical challenges like childcare and transportation. Many also needed some very specific life skills, such as financial and legal literacy. Together, a proposal was developed for a new implant workplace employee education pilot, which over time grew into Upward Academy. In Indiana, there are three Tyson plants, one in Cordon, Logansport, and Portland. The Cordon plant began the Upward Academy earlier this year. I spoke last week at COABE to the state director in Alabama, and he said adult education is as well at two Tyson plants in their state. One of the plants, he said, already has enrolled over 65 students so far. Connie is on the line with us this morning. She's the Director of Adult Education in Southern Indiana with River Valley Resources. She is on the webinar this morning, and she will share in more detail the Tyson Workforce Education Initiative in Cordon, Indiana. Welcome, Connie.
Welcome. Hey, good morning, everyone. So in August last year, we got a phone call from Tyson Foods, and they had asked us to partner with them to offer an on-site classroom at their Cordon, Indiana production plant. We were pretty excited about it. And if you could go to the next slide. So Tyson Foods, in case any of y'all don't know, is one of the world's largest food companies, and they have plants all over the country. So they established Upward Academy as a way to help employee retention and to improve work culture and community connectedness for its employees. The next slide, please. So our particular Upward Academy is a little bit unique from some of the others in that we have 130 Somalian immigrants working at the Cordon plant. They speak little to no English, and most are low literacy in their native languages, which include Somali, Swahili, and Arabic. And I want to show you a little video about Upward Academy.
What Upward Academy is doing through team members does not remain in the walls of the plant. It naturally will have effect outside in the home and in our community at large. As they become more proficient in language, they are going to become more involved and active in their communities, to be participants more than just here to work and find a livelihood. Studying English, one day I feel like my ears open, so I can understand what they started to me. It's like when I was playing guitar, I don't know any note, so I start to move my fingers, and one day when I know the notes, I can play music. English came to me, word by word, listen every day, and one day I put the letters together so I can speak my first words in English.
Upward Academy is a workplace education program of Tyson Foods. Tyson's putting their faith in Upward Academy shows that they're also putting their faith in what a new future could look like for social investment beyond typical philanthropy, but being active and being present and seeing your workforce as full people that have a lot to offer if you invest in the right ways.
And if you want to go ahead and do the next slide. So from an adult ed perspective, honestly, this partnership was fairly easy to implement. Much of the pre-planning was done for us, and we are the 33rd Upward Academy, and corporate project managers, by the time they got to us, pretty much had the planning down to a wire. We basically had to simply show up to the regular meeting and just pay attention and do what they said. So there were more positives than there were challenges, and we'll talk about a few of them if you want to go to the next slide. So they did a great job at developing plant buy-in, and many of the decisions that were made early, we weren't really involved in. So our corporate support included interpreters for the first 3 weeks. Now, we didn't have a lot of Somali or Swahili interpreters, but we did have an Arabic interpreter, which definitely helped a lot. And then there was constant communication amongst corporate, local HR, and adult ed. We met once a week to talk about any problems, any challenges, or anything like that. The whole concept of Upward Academy is extremely well organized, and the enthusiasm from corporate on down was exceptional. Everyone was on board. It was wonderful. They came out with amazing incentives for the plans. So our local support included HR provided us with on-site management and supervisor buy-in. And that was kind of important because in the middle of our planning, their entire plant had a transition in their management team. HR also worked to develop mentors for our program. And then they provided us cultural sensitivity issues to recognize. For instance, we had to plan our scheduling around prayer time because many of the plant people are Muslim. And then they have been absolutely phenomenal at problem solving with adult ed on any of the obstacles that we faced. So if you want to go, challenges. So the challenges, there weren't too many, honestly. From our first phone conversation in August, we had planned to open class in October. We met weekly to discuss some of the scheduling, materials, whatnot, incentives. So in October, we were ready to start, but then the entire top of the management team at the plant changed. So we wanted to push it back a month, the local HR people and adult ed. But corporate wasn't able to do that, so we had to push that back to January. And then in January, the locals weren't ready again. So we actually finally got started in February of this year, and so far it's going well. So one of the things that we also had, corporate and local corporate had a much bigger plan than what the local facility was ready to start with. So, and local HR kind of panicked at the magnitude of the project. And so they got with us, and we kind of agreed that we needed to scale down the program size and expectations. So we had 65 people show up to our orientation, and through a series of processes, we now have 17 enrolled, and HR was absolutely perfectly fine with that amount of people. So the expectations of the corporate didn't really match the reality of our local project. They wanted 20 hours a week for students in the classroom, but our local HR people did not. So we had to compromise, and we're doing 6 hours a week. And everyone seems to be pretty happy with this project. So even though the interpreters were present, there's still language barriers. So Google Translator and Burlington English are our best friends. And then from adult education, we have a new ELL teacher on this project. She's very experienced in HSE, but we couldn't get one of our more experienced teachers to go in, so we have a new one. And it was kind of a challenging environment, which did present us some hurdles. But I have to say again, our Burlington English rep, Eileen Ford, has gone to the site with us. We've had all kinds of other help. So it worked out pretty good. And then before we even started, corporate was able to give me some other programs of similar size across the country, and they broke it down and discussed the nitty-gritty adult ed details, and they've been a really good support too. So in conclusion, so far we've had Tyson loves to celebrate little successes. So last week we had a little ceremony where 6 individuals have hit 20 hours of class attendance, and we've actually had 2 of our people, actually 3 as of this morning, have made a gain to another grade level. So we're very excited about this. We actually have 1 person getting ready to go do their HSC. So we're excited with this process. We hope to add more things to it, but overall, it's been a wonderful, wonderful partnership. So that's about all I have. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Connie. We appreciate greatly you sharing the success with Tyson Foods and know in the future that it will continue to be very, very successful. Thank you very, very much for sharing all your information. Moving on, we have Chris Fitzgerald here, and he will provide some updates for the Youth Initiative.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're getting a good dose of the wonderful spring weather we have right now. Who knows, later on it could be frogs falling from the sky or snow, but right now it's looking beautiful downtown Indianapolis. A couple quick updates. We had our JAG CDC on March 15th in Indianapolis, and as you can see from the top photo, we had some great speakers. Marlon Jackson there in the center, former Colts Super Bowl winner. He spoke to all the JAG students in the audience, and it was a very good speech on leadership and employability skills. And the commissioner, to his right, Cameron Wright, I should say, spoke as well and gave a great endorsement for all the wonderful activities that went on that day. And we'd like to thank all of the folks who came out and helped us judging. As you can see in the bottom photo, that is our outstanding senior of 2019, Seymour High School's Karina Munoz. She won this prestigious award out of, I think we had 12 competitors, and you can check out her comments as well as the other competitors' comments on what the outstanding senior category means to them at that YouTube link right there next to them. Moving on, the IAACE is coming up. I hope you're all as stoked as we are. It is my opportunity here to tell you about the greatest presentation on earth, which will be mine. That'll be Thursday at 11 a.m. We'll be presenting on youth initiative or youth services and what they can provide for you. But the presentation isn't great because of me. I have a couple local workforce folks that'll be there giving you a really good boots on the ground perspective. So we hope to see you there, and we look forward to that. And now, it is my distinct privilege to introduce to you the hardest working employee in state government, the Donna Lovelady.
Checks in the mail. Oh, good morning, folks. The grants team would like to thank everybody for getting your ABE and IELCE grant applications in before the deadline. The last one came in 11 minutes to spare. So congratulations. The review team, which is made up of members of 8 different DWD offices, is hard at work reading and scoring your applications. And the preliminary award letters will be sent out in early May. We will send those to the official grant contact that is listed on your application cover sheet. And that is the same person who will receive the grant contract for signing. So be sure we have the right name, and if there is some kind of change between now and the next few weeks, be sure to let us know. Okay, let's talk about fiscal reminders for a couple of minutes. Requests for budget modifications must be into our office by June 3rd to give us time to process those and get them to our DWD contract team. And that is only necessary if you are moving money between admin and program. If you are moving money just between line items and it's within admin or within program, that's just a budget revision, and that's a much simpler process, and we can work with you on that for a little bit longer than June 3rd if you need that. The next thing that we're talking about, the closeouts, you'll be getting information from the DWD Finance Office. They are the ones who will send it out, and it, again, will go to the official grant contact only. If you have questions about the closeout, you'll contact the Finance Office, and they will be able to help you with that. When you submit it to the Finance Office, be sure to copy the Adult Ed mailbox so that we know that you have submitted your closeout. Reimbursements, you can, the auditor's office can take up to 40 days to process your request. If you have had a reimbursement sent in and you haven't heard anything back from it in that amount of time, then please contact Cheryl Jones so she can follow up with you with our finance office. We would love to be able to do that for you instead of you contacting them directly. It makes it a lot less confusing if we know what's happening and we talk to them for you. The finance office, again, they're doing the closeout, and they may tell you that you can take a little bit longer than August 30th to turn in your closeout. But if you have a final reimbursement, it must be into our office by August 30th. If there's a problem with that, and we understand that things can be out of your control, please contact Cheryl Jones to let us know prior to that date if you need more time to get your final reimbursement in. We have reports that are due the next couple of months after that, and we need to have a final count on how much money has been spent by the spent by our providers. So please cooperate with us on that so that we can get that accurate information out. As always, if you have any questions or any concerns, feel free to contact me, Donna Lovelady, or Scott Mills about your grant, or Cheryl Jones about your fiscal questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Donna. Let's move on to a couple of announcements which we have made in the past, but we want to continually remind you about these upcoming events. Dan will also mention these events when he does the professional development updates, but I wanted to highlight them as well. We did schedule a makeup date for the IET WEI training that has been scheduled for May 14th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ivy Tech Kokomo. Also, we'd like for you to save the date, the final PDF meeting of the program year. That's hard to believe that the program year is coming to a close. But the PDF meeting will be May 10th. It will be at Wayne Township Adult Education on High School Road here in Indianapolis. The meeting will be new teacher training for the PDFs and include a train the trainer model. This meeting, as I mentioned in last month's webinar, is for PDFs only. There will be no meeting for directors that month. Again, some reminders from our last webinar. As I mentioned, please contact Mike Johnson. He is the National Adult Education Director with DRC with any questions that you have specifically related to TABE and the TABE assessment. There will also be, I might mention, a task session conducted by DRC if you have any questions about task at the IAACE conference on Thursday at 3:30. Please bring your questions to that meeting at the IAACE conference if you have any questions about task. They will be glad to help you and to assist you. Mike Johnson mentioned we had an opportunity to see him at COABE last week. TABE is planning some additions to the student score reports. In addition to the task conference that they will have at IAACE. Marcus Rip of TABE will be at IAACE to do a session on TABE. On that Wednesday, it begins at 1:45, and I'm sure that we'll learn more about some of the additions to the score reports that I think will be helpful, particularly for our teachers to assist our students in interpreting those reports. Also, Mike said at COABE that TABE Class E is tentatively scheduled to go online beginning January of 2020. That is the current Class E that we are using now, to go online January 2020. Class E is approved by the U.S. Department of Education through June of 2021, and there is being work done on a new Class E. I will also mention, I've mentioned the IAACE conference a couple of times, but at the IAACE conference, one of your colleagues, Ruth Olson from Central 9 Career Center, is doing a TABE Class E session on Thursday beginning at 9:45 a.m. Also, Mike Johnson said at COABE, TABE 11 and 12 has been implemented so far in 36 states. They've done well over 1 million administrations of the new TABE 11 and 12 so far. 16 states no longer use TABE 9 and 12, and TABE 11 and 12 is now approved through 2024. Also want to make you aware, particularly for new folks who have not ever administered a TABE assessment, and particularly TABE 11 and 12, there are TABE online, on-demand training videos that were created by DRC that have been posted to the site on your screen. Also, our folks, our PD team of Dan, Nancy, and Jose have done an overview of TABE of 11 and 12, and that webinar is also been posted on our DWD site. So you can click those links, go to the training. Again, the DWD TABE 11 and 12 guidance and overview is the one done by Dan, Nancy, and Jose. That is a general overview of TABE 11 and 12. The more specific that DRC has created are those online, on-demand training videos. Let's turn to data. When we ran NRS Table 4 on Monday, the statewide measurable skill gain was nearly at 56%. As of this morning, we had hit 56.1%. So congratulations, we're moving toward our goal of 64%. Enrollment, however, is down by more than 1,300 students from this time a year ago. This is a 6% decrease. However, ELL enrollment is actually up slightly from a year ago by just about 25 students. While our enrollment is down, average contact hours are holding steady at 71. There has been really no change from this time a year ago, so 71 hours on average. As a state, our measurable skill gains are up, as I said, from a year ago by nearly 2 percentage points. But please remember, in program year 2017-2018, we counted measurable skill gains based upon pre- and post-testing only from the focus subject area. This year, if measurable skill gains are achieved through pre- and post-testing, it can be in any area. As you know, TABE 11 and 12 is a far more rigorous test than TABE 9 and 10, and please continue to remind your teachers to target their instruction to these new standards. But we are really, really doing well with measurable skill gains, and as I said, we are well on our way to that 64% goal. There is some more bright news. ELL measurable skill gains are up by more than 4 percentage points from a year ago. ABE measurable skill gains are up slightly from a year ago, but it is all good news. Really, in the end, I don't think TABE 11 and 12 has been much of a factor in terms of moving the needle for measurable skill gains as it was for TABE 9 and 10. Our instructors and our programs are doing a great, great job. Nancy is here this morning, and she's going to cover some of the other data to date. Nancy?
Good morning, everyone. The number separated before gain is actually down by more than 2.5 percentage points from a year ago, which is more good news for us. Last year, more than 4,600 students had separated. This year, we're at 3,830 students. This slide breaks down the number separated before gain by program. ELL is at 22%. The majority of ABE students are still falling in level 3. The next highest level is level 2. There were nearly 3,000 HSEs by this time last year. Last week, Inter showed 2,600 HSEs. We are down by nearly 330 HSEs from a year ago. The majority of HSEs earned are coming from students in levels 3 and 4. The implication is that students may be ready at lower educational functioning levels to sit for the HSE. As we said last month, it is always a good idea, regardless of level, to administer the task readiness assessment to see if a student is ready. Only 650 students, or 4%, were enrolled in ABE levels 5 through 6. Last year, nearly 1/4 of the students entered adult education in ABE levels 5 and 6. For students who utilize distance education, measurable skill gains continue to rise. The state's measurable skill gains for distance education are more than 62% as of Monday. 1/4 of the students use distance education to help them move more quickly academically. Many times we hear that all our students are working. Of the 20,000 students so far this year, more than 8,000, or about 40%, initially entered programs as unemployed. 37% of the students indicated they were employed when they entered, and the majority of the students not in the labor force that are left in that percentage are in the correctional programs. More than 1/3 of our students entered with a diploma during the program year. In program year 2017-2018, 29% of the students had a high school credential or higher. So far this year, 13% have some college or degree. And now?
Thank you so much, Nancy. Roy is here, along with our monitoring team of Roy, Lance, and Jennifer, and they've been out monitoring programs and talking with local directors, teachers, and students, and they wanted to spend some time this morning sharing some lessons learned and best practices that they've discovered. Roy?
Thank you, Jerry. Good morning, everyone. Here are some of the things that we picked up. Programs must have an effective way of disseminating information program-wide. This should be done consistently and include all satellite sites. NRS Table 4 data should be sent out weekly. Staff meetings should occur weekly or monthly and include all satellite locations. The meetings are checkups for the staff. Every single teacher must review their data weekly and have some form of access to enters. Programs should have personnel who can go to events and meetings with local business leaders, economic development boards, or Chamber of Commerce. And just to reemphasize, one of the things that we saw in programs that kind of needed some help was that information was not getting disseminated all the way down from the director all the way down to the teachers in the classroom and all the way to the satellite sites. And so if you have satellite sites or you have a lot of teachers, you have to make sure that information is getting to them and that they are actually utilizing that information.
Good morning, it's Jennifer Montgomery. We also found that uniform orientation photos program-wide were phenomenal. Don't know if that's fiscally possible, but if it could be, that would be a great option. Partnering with the YMCA in Vigo County, they offered childcare. That was another great opportunity we saw. Don't know how you could use that in your area if you don't have a YMCA, but something to consider. A checklist for monitoring teachers by directors or lead teachers, that could be done once, twice, every quarter. That would depend on the program and how large the program is. Administrative staff versus instructional staff ratios. Ensure that student-teacher ratio is balanced. In some classrooms we were in, and it could have just been the day that we were there, but it seems that some classrooms had 20 students, one aide, and the next classroom that we went to had 3 students and one aide and a teacher. It seemed very unbalanced to us. That just something that wanted to throw out there. And here's Lance.
Good morning. What an excellent testimonial to the value of an education. One of our programs that we visited hired a recent HSC graduate as an orientation assistant. Testing centers on site, that's quite a luxury of the program and a luxury to the students. So many times students walk out the door, we tell them to turn left, and they go right, and we never see them again. So having those testing centers is very important. Scholarships earned for HSC tuition. That was used by a couple programs in different fashions. They complete steps during the orientation process. They get points for making games and for attendance. And the thing that we saw through every program was a strong dedication of the staff. Very valuable is the community support that you receive. So you got to keep those lines open with your local community.
Thank you very much. Let's move to the workforce initiatives. Roy is back here, and he's going to share some information with you that I think will be helpful. Roy?
Thanks again, Jerry. So there it is. The Aspen Institute has developed a question bank, and it is to help workforce development professionals craft learning-focused conversations with retail business representatives, such as store managers and human resources professionals. The bank includes questions to help you understand a business and its workforce, employee engagement, development, and advancement in a firm, and compensation and scheduling practices. But developing these relationships do take time. The best time to start your WEI was 2 years ago. The next best time was yesterday, and third best time is today. All righty. So I also want you to remember that you already have access to their workforce, current and future employees because of your students. You also need to see your teachers as a resource. Who do they know? Who do their children know? What organizations outside of adult ed are they a part of? Who are their neighbors? Who have they met in their religious organizations? And then here are some of the questions from the question bank, specifically focusing on what you should know before you get there. So questions about employee engagement, questions about compensation and scheduling, and other questions about how to understand the business. Now, the first section that they covered was questions to understand the business and its workforce. So tell me about your business and your workforce. Tell me how you hire staff. Who are your major competitors for workers? Why do people want to work for your company? How long do frontline workers typically stay? Are there challenges related to your workforce that keep you up at night? So again, some of these questions can find out if you use your students and your teachers as resources and ask them who they're working for and what kind of challenges do they see from their end. All right, another section they have is, again, employee engagement. And like I said, you should be able to get a lot of these questions answered by just using your students and teachers as a resource. How do you learn about your employee satisfaction at work? What have you learned? Can you tell me about training that new workers receive in the store? Can you tell me about what you're looking for in frontline staff as you think about internal promotion? Are there new skills your workers need to help your business remain competitive in the face of technology or industry shifts? So, as you see, a lot of these questions, again, you can get answered if you use your teachers and students as resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roy. Dan is here this morning, and he is on the PD side, Nancy and Jose as well. He's going to share some information about professional development. Dan?
Good morning. I just wanted to, before I say anything, I'd like to piggyback on what Roy was talking about. I had an opportunity yesterday to go to this site he shared, and as a teacher, I thought, these are questions that students actually need to address when they're in the interviewing process, because as much as the employers are interviewing you, the students are interviewing the employers. So even as a teacher, I found the site very exciting, because you have to be prepared as whether you're a student and, wanting to know about the business that you're doing a job, or yourself as you're going in to do a WEI. Do you know about that business, what their needs are, and so forth? Let me get my glasses here. Jerry already said we're doing the new teacher training, and it is for PDFs only. I just want to stress the same thing, because we've had some questions. This training for the new teacher training is a train the trainer for the PDFs, and the focus of this training will be helping PDFs develop a mentoring system for new and struggling teachers. This is a time that we'd like to remind everyone that the primary focus of duties for the PDFs are identifying struggling teachers and serve as a mentor or find mentors for these teachers who may need assistance. During the training, best practices will be presented to help PDFs design and implement appropriate local teacher trainings. And this is very important. This ties back into what the monitoring team was saying, is that we find that we have classes, teachers who are located on islands of their own. They may have day jobs, and they're left out of a lot of stuff. And we know, in talking with teachers and talking with directors and PDFs, that there are a lot of teachers who need help and may not be getting it. And so this is really what the whole concept of the PDF training is all about. These are, we consider them master teachers, and a lot of teaching is not just the academics, but it's also programmatic issues, be it not post-testing, not understanding, that students may be ready to take the HSC at NRS Level 3. We know this information is not getting to everyone, and this is the primary duty of the PDFs partnering with the directors. Last piece of information here, the local PD plans and the final year reflection reports are due May the 3rd. During May's webinar, the state PD team will share some of the best practices and thoughts that were gleaned from these reports. We did this last year at the kickoff. We shared, what people had learned and what they found beneficial, and also what they would like to see changes made, such as last year, a lot of the PDFs said, we want more networking time. And so we have had more meetings, and we've spent more time doing that, because let's face it, networking and visiting programs is sometimes your best professional development. Finally, we would like to congratulate the PDFs and directors for all the hard work, which has actually made Indiana a national leader in adult education. Jerry and I were at COABE, and we had the opportunity to present on the PDF network. And it was a small group of people we had, but there were a lot of questions and emails that were sent afterwards asking what we're doing. They had a PD strand, and I tried to attend most all of them. And I really gleaned a few things I thought were kind of cool, but I didn't really see anything that was quite as intensive and teacher-driven as what we're doing here in Indiana. So maybe I'm a little bit prejudiced about this, but I think our data shows it. We wound up being the best state in Table 4 and third highest in HSEs, and that's what it comes down to. We are, as Marva would say, I'm going to channel Marva for a few moments, that we are data, we don't want to say driven, this scares a lot of people, we're data informed. And a lot of PD around the country might not be quite as data informed as it needs to be. And in Marva's words, keep doing what you're doing because it truly matters.
Thank you very much, Dan. Maryland, as I mentioned earlier, is here this morning, and she has some staff updates. Maryland?
Good morning, colleagues. I sent an email out earlier in the month, but for those of you that may not have received that, I wanted to make sure you were aware that our Work Indiana manager, Jessica Gray, has transitioned to another position within DWD. While we are sad to say goodbye to Jessica, we're really excited because the new position is going to keep her connected with adult education through the new Next Level Jobs Workforce Ready Grant program, as well as in training. So also wanted you to know, you haven't seen the last of Jessica. She will be attending the IAACE conference and will be assisting with presentations around Work Indiana and Next Level Jobs. As you all know, there are still changes coming for Work Indiana, but until we have everything in writing from our workforce cabinet, we're going to kind of continue our day-to-day operation here in the central office. Shruti, who handles our IETs, is going to take over the majority of the day-to-day tasks, and I will be assisting to handle the fiscal and contract management pieces. So if you have any other questions, please let me know. And with that, here's Shruti.
Good morning, everyone. This is our monthly IET data, and we have 11 IELC certifications and 208 IET certifications, 3 pending applications. Our IET enrollment is 2,286 students, which is 48.7% of our goal. IELCE enrollment is 83. Still enrolled students are 1,034. Dropped students 228. Completions 1,024. Certification 776. Moving to our next slide, this is our monthly WEI data. We have 74 WEI certifications and 0 pending applications. WEI enrollments are 739, that is 17% of our goal. Still enrolled students are 615, dropped students are 37, completed 87, and certification 75. This is Work Indiana monthly report data, which was pulled on April 5th of this month. Listed on the slide is a snapshot of the data. Enrollments are above our current to date goal, and completion and certification rates are looking great. As always, please reach out with any questions you may have to the email listed. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti. Let's turn to Enters updates, and Bryn is here, and Bryn will provide some updates for you.
Thanks, Jerry. Good morning, everyone. Just a quick 2 things that we have regarding Enters. If you're a director and you hire new staff members, please make sure that you email Matt or myself to get new accounts set up for those. At no time should any director be giving their staff their credentials to be doing the data entry on a daily basis. And one more thing, I want to talk about the HSE file. Slight change regarding that. Before, Diploma Sender was giving us that file every Wednesday, and then we were downloading it and uploading it into Enters. They've made a slight change on how they're going to do that now. So going forward, we'll be getting that file once a month. So it will not be coming every Wednesday. It's only going to be once a month. and that will be on the 2nd of the month. So once we get that, we'll load it in so you could check around the 3rd or the 4th for any results. So just a quick update. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brent. Let's turn to IAACE. And on the line, we have Jen, the Executive Director of IAACE. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning, everyone. And how are we on this fine Wednesday?
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I was waiting for a reply from the ones that I can hear at least. I am so pumped. We are so ready for conference, and I hope you are too. The last chance to register, need everyone to register by this Friday, April 12th at noon. If you have not registered, please do so. You will receive a confirmation of your registration. If you have not received a confirmation on your registration, that means that you are not registered. So please send me an email or give me a phone call if you have any questions. We are trying to make sure that everyone gets to eat, basically. So please get your registrations in. I'm super excited about the very beginning of the conference because there are going to be some superheroes in the mix. We are going to start with a grand opening of exhibits with a networking event, meeting DWD staff, meeting the board of directors, meeting all of our exhibitors and our sponsors. And then we will start with a box lunch session at 11 o'clock with a table topic round robin networking opportunity. We have some facilitators that will be facilitating topics that you have sent in, and if anyone wants something else, you can send those in as well. But we also will have some fun topics set up in case someone just wants to network. And then our keynote will begin at noon. Jennifer Powers with the book Oh Shift. It's sure to be powerful. Next page, please. As I mentioned, the registration is due by this Friday. We have excursions available to French Lick Winery and or the Escape Room on Thursday at 5:30. The ability to buy those excursions are separately on the website. All you have to do is go to the IAACE.com conference page, and all the buttons are there for all of these things. So you can click and add your excursions to the winery, escape room. If you have guests coming to the awards meals, there is also ability to buy guest meal tickets. So you can do that online right there as well. And there is the website information. Next page. And that's it. Yes, I wasn't sure. I am so excited. I'll see you guys at conference.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. We will see you at conference. Before we end this morning, I wanted to share a photograph taken at another conference. This was last week at COABE of your colleagues. On the left there is Sarah Gutting, and on the other side is Michelle Davis. They had an opportunity to meet and talk to Scott Stump, the Assistant Secretary for Career, Technical, and Adult Education at the U.S. Department of Education. Scott in the center there happens to be a Purdue graduate and a former high school teacher in Manchester. The two gentlemen on the end I cannot vouch for, but they were included in the photograph as well. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Our next statewide webinar will be after the IAACE conference. It is scheduled for May 8th at 10 a.m. Let's enjoy a great conference. I know IAACE has a lot in store for us in French Lick. In the meantime, have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.